Good evening, good morning to everyone. Welcome to our next session on SAP UI5 and Fiori training. In the last episode, we talked about JavaScript. We have given a close to our JavaScript chapter. We have seen how can we write internal JavaScript as part of our page inside of an HTML page. In today's session, we will first start and discuss with external JavaScript. So just like the external CSS where we separate out all the necessary CSS code in a different file altogether. Similarly, in the external JavaScript, we will be separating it out into an external file. So we will have our existing JavaScript code, which is actually part of your HTML page, and this JavaScript code is written inside a script tag, and we will now be separating it out this code into altogether a different file, and then we will be referencing this file as part of our HTML page so that at runtime all the necessary JavaScript code can be fetched from this file. So you will be having a JavaScript file, and from this JavaScript file it will be referenced as part of our HTML page. So how do we reference this JavaScript file which is external into our HTML page? Now I'm trying to understand the beauty of this feature of external JavaScript, that it can be a file altogether separate from your HTML page, which is present either on your local machine or it could be also present on the internet, which means on the cloud. So it is possible that this file which you are referring of JavaScript file, it can be part of internet somewhere on the cloud, or it could be part of your computer as well, right? So this is completely possible with external reference of JavaScript. So let's go ahead and see what is that we use to reference this file as part of our HTML page. So I will come back to my JS example, which we had created, and in that we have written these functions. Now, when I run this, of course, we know the features, what we have done with these functions. So these functions will work as expected. The moment I remove this code from the file, these functions will stop working. We have done some magic things and we've done some login things. So now what I want is to move these functions out. So let me cut these functions out and save this. And let's come back and refresh. And now you would observe that one click of these buttons, nothing happening. Reason is very simple, because we have removed the code of JavaScript from our page, which means now we have to move this code somewhere else. What is that place? That place is an external JavaScript file. Let's go ahead and create an external JavaScript file. So I'm going to right click and say new, and I choose it as a folder, and I will name it as JS folder. And inside this JS folder, I will be creating a new file. Let me call the file name as lifesaver.js. Of course, you can choose your own name, whatever you like for the file. Click on OK. But important is to remember the extension of the file has to be .js. This indicates to the system that the given file is a JavaScript file. This is very important. So now we are going to bring all our code over here. And guys, the beauty of JS file with respect to Web IDE is the moment Web IDE detects it is a JS file, Web IDE enables the code completion feature. So if I just come here and show you document control space, you would see the code completion feature comes into it. You can see all the available methods as part of your document API, as part of your document object, which is the standard document object. They're all visible right onto your screen over here. This is the beauty of using JS files in WebIDE. WebIDE enables the code completion features already as part of your page now because it's a JS file. And WebIDE is very much familiar with .js extension files. Hence, it enables the code completion. For example, if I want to write for loop, I don't need to remember syntax. I can say for control space, and now you can see iterate over array. Iterate over array with local variable. Iterate with in operator. Yeah. So like this. So maybe I double click here and it generates automatically the complete code for loop. Okay. So you can do control space. You just have to do control space, write your code, and like for example, if condition, control space, and it shows you all the code completion. Just enter, and now you can see this is the code to write a if condition. If some condition, and then accordingly your code inside the block, right? So this is an amazing feature which WebID offers, but remember this feature enables only for .js files. All right, let's move on now. We got to connect this Lifesaver JS with HTML page. So there we had used the link tag, but here we will use a script tag itself. So we have to say script tag, and there is a property source. What is the source of the script file? And we will say it's the JS folder slash lifesaver.js. Click on save. Now let's go back page, refresh. And I would like to ask all of you, can you tell whether it will work or not? Let's see who will tell me whether it will work or not. Very good, Mirajuddin. You have got the right answer. I have done a mistake in the name of the file. When you click, it will not work. Oops, why it's working? It's lifesaver.js. I have to be saver s should be capital. It's working actually surprisingly. But okay, sorry. Let me save it. I didn't save it, guys. Let me save it. It's surprisingly working actually. Ideally, it should not work, guys. It's working actually, but remember that this is a big problem many times in UI5, especially here. Maybe it's working in SAP UI5. This may not work. You have to make sure that the file name is case sensitive. So S should be capital. You can see saver S must be capital. This is an important point here. It's working surprisingly. Even I am surprised how come it's working. But ideally, it may not work. But you see, guys, now it is referenced from an external JS file. Are you clear, guys, how to work with external JS? So the file, the JavaScript code remains either in your local computer in a different file, or it could be a file from the cloud, from the internet. Yeah, simple word of the cloud means internet. There is something on the internet, some JS files, and I can now call those JS files and directly load. And this brings me to the now an interesting point for all of you. If you remember our demo class, we had discussed about it in the demo class, that what typically happens when you write a UI5 program. Did you remember that we used an src this file from the cloud? What is this doing? This is loading SAP UI5 framework. You see here SAP UI core.js. We are loading the JavaScript file from internet with a script tag. So are you guys now clear the meaning of this line? What this line is exactly doing? This is the line we had used in the demo class. Those who have not attended my demo class, I request to go back and check the demo session again. Clear, everyone? What is this line doing now? Yeah. So now you understand the meaning of this line. It's important to remember and know the meaning of every line before you put it. अगर कुछ भी मैं लिख रहा हूँ or you are writing or you're copy pasting, if you don't know the meaning of that line, your code is not something which you have good command on. If you want a great command on the subject, you should know the meaning of every line. So if next time somebody asks you what is this line does, earlier you were like giving some kind of hooks to someone, but now you can tell that this piece of code is loading external JavaScript resource from internet. What is that resource called? That resource is SAP UI5 framework. It's loading its external JavaScript file, which we are loading as part of our page. Okay. And then we are specifying more properties while loading it, that within that framework, which library we want and what theme we want. These are some extra parameters we are telling to load when we are loading this external JavaScript file. And this whole piece of code is called as Bootstrap. Okay, this whole piece of code together is known to be Bootstrap. This is called Bootstrap. Bootstrap means we are initializing. Boot means initialization of something. When your computer starts first time, you say it's booting, right? It's starting, it's initializing, it's loading the operating system. Similarly here, this Bootstrap code is initializing the UI5 framework for you in the browser. It's loading that complete UI5 framework in your browser because it's client-side JavaScript. It has to load everything in the browser, then only it can run, right? Now, coming back. So that's about external JavaScript. So likewise, imagine guys, if I give you now this lifesaver.js, can you also reuse my functions? Right guys? If I just give you this lifesaver.js with my functionality, you can reuse it, and you can also reuse the JavaScript file provided by people in this world. So this is a really big world. A lot of people are building a lot of JavaScript files and functionality. And we don't, almost for everything, we have ready-made JavaScript files. If you want to create an Excel sheet, there is a JavaScript file somebody had developed. If you want to send an email, there is an external JavaScript file somebody has developed. If you want to create a PDF invoice, there is a JavaScript file somebody has developed, which means this world is not enough. That's what Einstein has told once upon a time. The world is not enough, which means people have already built a lot of investment and they have created huge number of JS files in this world. You can just reuse them. Such one powerful JS file is called as Jquery. Okay, such one powerful file is Jquery. What is Jquery? Jquery is nothing but it's a JavaScript library. Now, see guys, what is Lifesaver here? Lifesaver is a JavaScript library. Why? What is a library? Anybody? What is the real world library is? In your real life, in your real world, what is library? This library collection of books, right? So here what is it? What is this JS library? It's a collection of functions. ये देखो कितने सारे functions हैं यहाँ पे. This is a collection of functions. Are you clear? What is a library? It's a collection of functions. You have lots of functions. Maybe in our example we have only two, but going forward, when we go inside the system, you may have so many functions, guys. So that's what a JavaScript library is exactly. A JavaScript library is a collection of functions. In our case here, lifesaver.js is a JavaScript library. It's a collection of functions together, and so many of such libraries exist in today's world. How do we use them? One of such a powerful JavaScript library is known to be Jquery. Jquery is a powerful JavaScript library. If somebody asks you what is Jquery, what will be your answer? Anyone? What will be your answer when somebody asks you what is Jquery? Anybody? What is Jquery? Anybody? What is your answer? What is your answer when somebody asks you Jquery? Jquery is a JavaScript library. Okay. It's a JavaScript library. It is a JavaScript library, guys. What is the purpose of this library? What do you think is the purpose of this library? What it can do? Can it create an Excel sheet for us? What it can do? Of course, it's a collection of functions, collection of ready-made functions. That's what a library means. A library means collection of functions. That's what the library word itself says, collection of functions, right? That's what it can say, collection of functions. So it is a JavaScript library. jQuery is a JavaScript library. It's a collection of functions. What it can do? What it can do, guys? What is jQuery can actually do? jQuery is a collection of functions. The main motive of this JavaScript library to simplify code and increase developers' efficiency. The motto is to write less and do more. Wow, क्या बोल दिया मैंने? Motto is to write less and do more. Write less code to achieve more results. Just to take an example, how many lines of code I have written to change the color of my boxes? How many lines of code I have written to change color of my boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are you guys agree to this? Do you guys remember our last class? Do you guys remember our last class? How many lines of code I have written to change color of my boxes? I have written how many lines of code? Can you please count for me how many lines of code we have written to change? I will not answer your future questions if you not answer my questions. How many lines of code we have written? We have written 6 lines of code here. 6 lines of code to do change in the color of the box title. Now, if I tell you that I can do this 6 line of code in one single line, if I say I can change, I can make the work done in one line instead of 6 lines, example of changing the box color, how would it be? How would it be, guys? What do you think would it be when I will tell you that I will change this in such a way that you will be writing one line to achieve this? Yes, that's what jQuery is capable of. Then you say, Anubhav, like jQuery, there may be so many libraries in this world. Why are we referring only jQuery? What is the motivation for jQuery? What is the use? Why jQuery? Can be so many other libraries in this world. Why jQuery? jQuery is industry standard. This is why jQuery. It's something which is adopted by industry. All the big companies like Microsoft, Netflix, Google, SAP, they all are using jQuery. If they are all using jQuery, what does it mean? It means it is industry standard and we can also happily use it. See guys, it's a rub-off effect. If a big player like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they're doing something, then what happens? These small companies around them also start following them, right? Whatever SAP does, companies starts copying it or companies starts following it. So these are the market leaders in their respective areas. And when they do something, there is some reason they are adopting some standard frameworks. And what we should also do, we should learn from them. It's always about learning from somebody else, the rub-off effect. So if the big player, somebody nearby you, you're in your family buying property, and when you have money, what do you think your parents suggest you? Your parents suggest you, giving an example, wo dekho, Munnu uncle. Munnu uncle has 3 properties. 2 years back, Munnu uncle had bought 3 properties in just 1 crore rupees. And today, the value of that property is 3 crore rupees. So you should also invest in that property in that area, right? This is what people does. It's about taking inspiration from nearby. So this is what happens always. Since these companies are using jQuery, it's also important that we also understand jQuery and we take inspiration from them and we also start using. The third, because it has a very good documentation, it is very stable, It has a good documentation. It is easy to use. It has very good documentation, easy to learn, and more importantly, it simplifies the work and the lines of code. So it's so many lines of code, the work what we do, it simplifies all of that. That is the biggest benefit of using jQuery. Am I clear, everyone? What is jQuery? Is that clear to everybody? Yes. So let us go ahead and see how can we use it. The first thing, how to use it now. The first thing which we need to do is get the jQuery. How do you get the jQuery? One is you can download and reference. Second is you can reference from internet, which I would call in simple words CDN. CDN stands for Content Distribution, Content Delivery Network. Basically internet. So you can reference the jQuery from internet directly, or you can download the jQuery from the internet and copy paste that JS file in your project and reference like lifesaver.js we have done here. Clear, everyone? Second step is you need to know the syntax of jQuery to use. The syntax of jQuery is dollar symbol. The dollar symbol indicates browser that we want to use jQuery. This is what dollar symbol indicates to the browser. So dollar selector dot action. This is the syntax. रट लो इसको, भूल नहीं जाना, दिक्कत हो जाएगा. Just memorize this syntax. This is a very important syntax. Dollar symbol selector action. Is that clear, everybody? Now maybe not clear clearly until we see some examples of jQuery. Okay. Dollar symbol indicates that we are going to use jQuery. So selector, anybody, how many types of selector you know? Who will tell me how many types of selector? Perfect answer. Ajit has got it right. What are all those selectors? Can you quickly tell me? One is hashtag ID, dot class name, and tag name. Clear, everybody? All these three selectors from our CSS chapter. Those who are learning, studying daily, giving time and watching this PPT, they will not have a problem to answer the questions. But those who are not watching the PPT daily, over a period of time, you will lose the complete pace of the training. Slowly, you will lose the interest also in training. Remember the day when you started, you were so super excited. And today, जब पढ़ाई करने का बात आया तो आधे लोग not studying regularly, and that will have a cascading effect on you. As a result of that, you will stop understanding in the class. You will feel demotivated over a period of time. So it's important for all of you. So at least look at a PPT for 10 minutes every day. Every day 10 minutes at least. Please look at our PPT. This is super important. Okay, so what is jQuery? We saw how to get the jQuery and what is the syntax. We'll see it in a minute. So selector, we can put any selector, and then action. There are different functions which are provided, ready to use functions by jQuery. We will be using these ready to use functions to do certain things. Let's go and explore these functions over here, which are provided by jQuery, and we will see how do they behave, how can we simplify our work for jQuery. Let's go back and just come here. And what I'll do is I will first of all try to call a function. So let me create a function here. So I will say function, and I will name this function is change color. Any name you can give, you can say Superman, Spider-Man, whatever you like. It's your function, guys. Have fun with it, no problem. And now inside this function, I'm going to write dollar symbol. What is the selector in this case? The same example, guys, where I want to change the color. I want to change the color. I want to change the color of the box title. What is the selector? What is the selector, guys? If I want to change color, no, incorrect answer. It's the class. So what is the class starts with? What is the class name starts with? What is the class name starts with? Perfect. Dot. It starts with dot. ID starts with hashtag. So what is the class name in this case? In this example, anyone? It's written already in front of you. आपके सामने लिखा हुआ. What is the class name? The perfect answer is the box title. In the last example, we tried that out. Yeah, this is the class name. So let's come here and just put dot box name dot css. This is the action name in this case for jQuery. And I will say, hey, can you please change the color, the background color? So I will say background hyphen color property. Please change it to black. And then I will do chaining. This is JavaScript chaining, if you remember. One after another, next consecutive methods you can call. And I'll say, hey, please change the color as well to white. Okay. So you can also say brown and white I want. And maybe I want brown and white or brown and yellow. This is what I want. Okay. So I am now applying change color and this is my jQuery syntax. Is that clear, everybody? Dollar selector dot action. Action in this case is CSS. I am saying, hey, I want to change CSS. This is a built-in function in jQuery. Of course, you can find the documentation. I'll show you where can you find it. So this is a built-in function in jQuery. Is that clear? Yes or no? Everyone, are you clear how we change the color? Can you see we have really simplified the code? How many lines of code earlier we had? We had 6 lines of code and that converted to how many lines of code? 1 line of code. Is that clear? Don't you think it really changes the way we code? It really simplifies our code. It also helps us to shadowing this complicated code which we are doing. And another beauty is asynchronous. So you just execute this and you move on to the next consecutive statement. System does not wait until this gets over. Okay. It's asynchronous execution. Okay. It is asynchronous execution. So can we use jQuery instead of JS? Absolutely. You can use. This is the purpose. This is the purpose. We should use jQuery because it's a JavaScript. अंदर इसके यही हो रहा है. If you think what is happening, maybe inside this CSS method, the same thing is happening. It's looping, finding all the elements and getting and then changing its color. अंदर इसके यही हो रहा है. Inside this jQuery function, which somebody, the jQuery library whomsoever has written, maybe it's the same thing is happening inside. Okay. So it's internally using JavaScript only. But we should use jQuery. But do you think it will work when I refresh and try to run it? Point 1, we have to change now the method name. It's the change color method, which I have to bring it over there. Let me go back. Where is my button? It's here. Instead of show me magic, we're going to touch it to change color. And now I'll come back and refresh. Do you think it will work? Anyone? When I click on this, do you think it will work? It's not working. It's not changing background to brown and yellow, right? क्या हो रहा है? How do you now check what's going wrong? Anyone? Who is your best friend? Who is your best friend who is ready to sit next to you? Console, press F12. The very first thing, press F12. Console will tell you कि कहाँ code गड़बड़ हुआ है. So now you see, cannot find reference dollar of undefined. What does it mean? You are trying to call jQuery and jQuery is not available. That library which I was telling you, reusable library, is not there. So you got to reference from either local or CDN. So local, we already saw an example. How can we download and reference like using Lifesaver.js? Now I'll show you how to reference from CDN. Very easy. Let's go first to jquery.com. This is the place where you can find the documentation of jQuery. Yes, jquery.com. Write less and do more. See here. Can you see? अभी तो बोला था मैं ये. Write less and do more. See here. Write less and do more. This is what exactly we just saw in a minute back, right? We got to write less and do more. This is a very powerful JavaScript library available, and almost every company is using it. Now you can download it from here, this .js file, and reference in your project. That's option number one, which you can all try. Option number two, which I would like to now demonstrate, which is interesting, is to reference from CDN. So go to download option, and here you would see the CDN information. So just come down and you would find jQuery using content distribution network. Clear, everybody? Are you clear with this option? Using CDN. How many CDNs available? You see jQuery CDN provided by Slackpath. And then there are other CDN. You remember Microsoft, Google, just leave CDN.js. A lot of these companies are already using JavaScript, jQuery, right? They're already using. So maybe I want to refer from Google. So click on Google CDN. It takes you to the Google's developer.com, and there you will find the path to reference jQuery. Can you see the different versions? 3.x, 2.x, 1.x. Any version you can take. I will take latest one, 3.x. This is the address. This is the file path where jQuery exists. jQuery.min.js. Can you see this is the address on internet from where it takes? Which tag do you use? Which tag do you use? Which tag do you use to reference an external JavaScript file? Perfect answer, script tag. Yes, absolutely. पूरा code आपके सामने लिखा हुआ है. You can see the entire code is written in front of you. You can just take this gentleman, or you can take the complete code also. It's your choice. Now you come back, and I'm gonna say here, go to my HTML file on the top, and here I'm gonna reference my JS file, which is external JS from TDN. So like write script tag RC property and reference this over here, and that's the end of it. So this is how we reference the jQuery now. What do you think will happen? This is a bootstrap of jQuery. This is now going to download the jQuery from internet and going to keep it in your browser. You remember last time when you go to sources, you see there is only local 60780 and something called UI inspector loaded. I will tell you about this UI inspector later, but now you see just your files are loaded here, CSS, JS files. There is no external resource like jQuery loaded. That's why you're getting console error. But now let me refresh. Watch out, watch out. Let's refresh. And boom, there you go. Can you see ajax.googleapi.com? Can you see that? And it is actually now loading jQuery for you. Wow, superb. Can you see it's loaded? The jQuery is loaded in your browser now. Are you clear, guys? The jQuery is loaded in your browser. So these are ready to use functions in jQuery. See, all JavaScript code inside. So these are all ready to use functions of jQuery. jQuery got loaded, and now it's time to see magic happening on the screen. I have jQuery, I have confidence on jQuery, and click on the button. Boom, there you go. You can see the background and foreground color has been now changed thanks to jQuery. Congratulations, your first example on jQuery. So what we learned how to reference from internet, the CDN, the jQuery from Google CDN. The second biggest advantage, or second thing which we learned, is what is the syntax for jQuery. Using dollar symbol, we indicate the browser that we want to use jQuery. So without internet, it will not work. If you're using no internet, it will not work, guys. Okay, it won't work without internet because you reference from CDN. If you reference from local computer, then without internet also it works. But usually all the implications which you will build are all hosted on internet, so internet is must. So this is the reason we can use jQuery. So loading jQuery all the time, will it reduce the performance? No. What happens? Browsers have a concept called cache. Do you understand what is a cache concept? Let me explain you in a simple word. Let's imagine there is a small honeybee. Okay, there's a small honeybee, and this honeybee has to go daily out for the hunt of fruits and juices. Okay, this honeybee has to go out for the hunt of fruits and juices outside. every day. So one fine day there it was raining. Okay, one fine day it was very raining and honeybee cannot go out. And now honeybee's childrens are almost dying because of food. Because today they are not getting food and they started dying. So what honeybee has to do to save the childrens? Anyone? What do you do to avoid going to market every day? What do you do to avoid to get household stuff every day from market? What do? You will go to store, you will purchase all the household stuff on the weekend and you stock it, correct? So as a result of that, you don't have to go to market every day. You got to have it in your store. And whenever you need something, you go to your storage space, wherever you have in your house, you take it from there and you bring it. So basically storing, caching the resources within the local machine, within the local premises, right? What will happen as a result? It will save a lot of time. It will save a lot of time and resources to get the stuff from outside. So honeybee starts storing honey as part of its own house. That's what honeybee does. Similarly, what you do, you go all the household stuff on the weekend and then you store in your house. And as a result of that, next time you need something, you don't have to go to the market. You get it right from your own store, right? From you have a tiny store at your house, you store all the things. Same thing is called cache concept. When a browser, imagine this is browser, a browser need a resource. What browser has to do? Browser has to go every time to internet, and calling internet and getting the data from internet is costly, right? It is costly. So browsers, modern browsers are so smart. What they do, whenever there is a resource which they want to load, they load it in the cache, in a local store. A local store, imagine a local store of browser. It's a cache. It's called cache. It's a small memory in the browser which can store these local resources in local computer. So next time when somebody requests for these local resources, what will happen? What will happen? It doesn't need to go to internet to load that resource. If the resource is not changed, it doesn't go to go internet, and it has it from its local cache. When the resource is changed on the internet, then at that point of time it has to reload the resource only that point of time. And that can be compared by making a very small call rather than making a big call. You can just make a call and ask the server, hey, are you changed? You're not loading everything. You're just asking, are you changed? If the server says, yes, I am changed, in that case, it loads. Otherwise, it don't load. It just makes a call to the internet saying that, are you changed or not? And if not, then I will use my cache. This is the way browser speeds up the overall execution of your website. Clear, everyone? This cache concept. Now, the another bigger problem for cache for this concept is sometimes the server is sitting, let's say, in America. So there is a server in USA from where all the files are loading. So now the client is sitting in different countries. Client is in India, US, UK, Germany, Japan, China, right? People can use this application everywhere from internet, correct? So they can be in India, people can be in USA, people can be in Germany, people can be in UK. There are people across the globe accessing this resource from America. What will happen, guys? Sending a traffic from America to America, it's fast or not? Sending traffic from America to America is fast or not? This takes less time, right? So I will rank it as number one. This is fastest. Sending a traffic from Germany or from UK to US, I would rank it probably 2. Sending traffic from Germany, getting it from US, the file which you want to download, rank it 3. And the last one rank is 4, right? So this is the ranking of speed by which they gets loaded, right? And all the load comes on the single server, right? This is also biggest disadvantage. So you have different loading time for different countries. All the load coming on a single server. So if this server is down, everybody is down. Yeah. And there is no resource pooling. Resource pooling means you are not optimally, so everything coming on the server, if this server is down, everybody is down. So what do we do to avoid this situation? We don't want to every time go to US. So what they do on internet these days, they install local servers within each country. They also install small servers, small, I call it as servers on each country now. There is a dedicated small server, very small server where you don't have actual deployment. It is just a cache, country specific cache. This is called CDN. This is called CDN, guys. This is called CDN. So there are a lot of companies who are just offering these services. They are giving you a storage space. They have data centers across the globe, and they are giving you storage space, tiny storage space where you cache the file. So next time a call comes from India, it goes via CDN. CDN checks the file which you are requesting. jQuery does not exist. It loads the jQuery from USA and it caches that jQuery in India server now. So anybody coming from India, so within India now, from Lucknow, from Jaipur, from Bhopal, from Tamil Nadu, from Telangana, anywhere the traffic is coming, it comes to CDN. So CDN is now caching this file, and CDN just asks the main server, "Are you changed?" If not, CDN will return the file. So ultimately, you got the file from India itself. You don't have to go to all the way to US. That's what CDN does. That's an intermediate cache, country specific or region specific intermediate cache, which will work as an intermediate cache to speed up the loading, of JavaScript resource. That's called CDN. Are you guys clear what is the cache concept? So there is a cache in your local browser. There is a cache in the CDN for the file, and the main server is sitting somewhere else where you have actual files. Any change happens, that happens in the main server. And what CDN and local server does, local server CDN just ask each other, "Are you changed? If not, give me whatever you have. Are you changed? If not, give me whatever you have." So your application asks browser, "Are you changed?" Browser say, "No, I am having latest updates. I will come back and tell you." It goes to CD and say, "Are you changed?" "No." Okay, browser says no, then I will return the file to the application. So this way the application loading time increases significantly by using the cache, guys, in the browser, and also the cache in the CDN. Are you guys clear with the concept of CDN and cache into the browser? This is the concept which everyone using, even SAP UI5, to speed up its loading time. We are using the CDN network. It's called Akamai CDN. Okay, Akamai CDN network. It's a very powerful third-party company which SAP have done a tie-up. SAP have done a tie-up with them, saying that, "Hey, can I use your CDN services?" So SAP have done a tie-up with Akamai, and they're saying we are hosting our UI5 with Akamai CDN. If you read about now some blogs, you will hear about it. Akamai CDN, SAP UI5, Akamai CDN. So next time when you're loading UI5, imagine maybe in Mumbai and there is a Akamai server sitting in Pune. So you are not going all the way to Germany to ask SAP main data center in Germany to load the UI5. Rather, you are going just to Pune from Mumbai, which is nearby to you, to load the UI5. As a response, the loading time is significantly better while you were going to Germany. So this, you see, great to know. Excellent news. SAP is offering now SAP UI5 via Akamai CDN. Clear, everybody? And that you don't have to take care of anything. You just have to hit the URL, and SAP takes care of Akamai takes care of it by itself. The call goes to always Akamai CDN first whenever you are referring UI5, and whichever is the nearest data center where it is cached, the UI5, it will load that. Clear, everybody, the concept of CDN and cache? So CDN is also a cache concept. Now let's move on and see some more examples with jQuery, some more functions. So there are a lot of powerful functions. Let me add some more buttons on our screen so that I can show you some more powerful functions. Suppose the next function which I would like to show is hide and show function. So let's say button on click hide. and then I'll say button is height. Let me add another button. It's called show button. Okay. Let's go and write these two functions, hide and show. Back to Lifesaver. I'm gonna write it function. You can name it anything, your choice, guys. No matter. I'm just naming it as whatever I can understand. Easy. And now inside this, we're gonna write hiding of entire three boxes. All three boxes I want to hide. So dollar select is dot box. That's a selector for entire box, and I just say hide. System is gonna hide all three boxes. As the opposite of that is show. Hide and show. How to hide the complete set of controls from the screen and how to display them back again on the screen. Let's come back, refresh. And now let's see if I want to hide. Click on hide and you see all three boxes goes off. Click on show, all three boxes appears again. But you see, it's very blunt. It's very rigorous. इसमें कोई elegance नहीं है. It doesn't have the elegance. It doesn't have that, nice style of hiding and showing. It's just blunt. It immediately hides, immediately show. I want an effect. I want a nice hide and show effect. So you can use other function called fade out and fade in. Let me show you fade out function. Rather than using hide, I'm just commenting it out. So you can reference this code later. So I can say dollar dot box and I can say fade out. I'll say please fade out in 3 seconds. 3000 means 3000 milliseconds, which means 3 seconds. So it's gonna now fade out maybe in 5 seconds. Please fade out my control slowly, slowly. Okay, it's a slow poison. And now I'll say please bring it back in 3 seconds again on the screen. That's an alternate way with some nice effect, fade out and fade in effect. So let's go back and check this. Come back. Watch out. Just click on hide now. Watch out. I clicked on hide. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's how. You can see now in 5 seconds it hidden my control. And now I'll say show 1, 2, and 3. Now you can see in 3 seconds it brings the control back. So that's a nice, beautiful effect of hiding and showing the control. It's very elegant as compared to hide and show. It's very, very elegant, gives a nice effect to the user. Here everyone, it's a nice effect to the user. Now let's talk about callback function. Somebody was asking yesterday, Anubhav, can you show an example for callback function? Guys, when the time comes, I will tell you everything. Don't think I'm hiding anything from you. Just that the reason is sometimes it becomes a heavy dose of antibiotic. You will die. I want to save you. I want to teach you so that you can understand things properly. Today we will see an example of asynchronous function. So once this, or callback function I would say, once this effect gets over, I want to do something. So what we can do, we can use a callback function. The syntax to do callback function is put a comma after the time and write a function here. This is also an example of anonymous function. So I have written a function without name. This is a function without name. So what will happen once this effect gets over in 5 seconds? After that, this callback function gets triggered automatically. Okay. This callback function gets triggered automatically after this effect gets over. Okay. So after your 5 second gets over, this function gets triggered automatically. And in this function, what I can say, I can maybe say alert, your controls are hidden now. That's an asynchronous function. Once your asynchronous task gets over, this particular code gets called. And watch out, I will also say console.log and I'll say the method already sent for execution. You remember I was telling JavaScript is non-blocking IO. Watch out. What do you think? Which one will execute first? Line number 32 and line number 29. Which one do you think will execute first? People are saying 29. Incorrect answer. You forgot. You have not looked at my PPT yesterday then. You have not understood the concept of asynchronous execution. Yesterday I told you the asynchronous execution. So what happens? The control flow goes like this. What system does? Here it comes. It sends this call to Jquery, and Jquery is now responsible for executing this fade out function. And system moves on to the next function, next call statement. So the line number 32 gets executed first. Okay. After 5 seconds, this callback function gets executed, and then you get your control is hidden now. Are you clear, guys? So first, this one will be printed in console. Second, the alert function comes because it's asynchronous execution. It's not like a normal programming language, guys. It's asynchronous. This method gets called and jQuery is now doing its task, and you proceed with the next statement. And by the time jQuery finish the effect in 5 seconds, jQuery will call back this callback function. As a result, you will see the pop-up on the UI. Okay, so if you reduce this time, maybe it may happen, but you can't do that because it's so fast that it won't even finish the effect by the time this gets executed. Let's see this on the screen. I come back as F12 and watch out. First you will see the result in the console. सबसे पहले console में print होएगा. So let's click on hide and you see it has started. Why my console did not print? Something is wrong. No, I've done something wrong. Console.log. Oh, I'm doing fade out in 5 seconds. Both are not triggering. Something is wrong. Let's go and check what's going wrong. Is there any problem with our code? Oh, I did not refresh. I'm so sorry, guys. I did not refresh. I got to refresh. I'm so sorry. I did not refresh. Now I come back and say hide. Watch out. Can you see method already sent for execution? See, this was my console and effect is now happening, and there you go. Once the effect got completed, your callback function got triggered asynchronously. Your control are hidden now. Are you clear, guys? So first, JavaScript did not wait for effect to get over. It started execution of next statement, and then once the effect got over, your callback function got triggered. As a result, you have got this pop-up. Clear, everybody? It is not like your normal ABAP programming which runs sequentially एक के बाद एक. ऐसा नहीं होता है. It runs asynchronous execution, non-blocking IO. Clear, everyone? This example of callback function and asynchronous execution. Somebody was saying yesterday, Anubhav, can you show an example? This is the best example to understand asynchronous function. So this statement, it started, it progressed further, it started, it executed, and this statement triggered later once the effect got over. Asynchronous function. It's an anonymous function which I've given here, which gets executed as asynchronously later point of time once the effect gets over. Okay, that's the example. Now let's see some nice other example. I want to probably increase the width and height of an image. Okay, I want to do that, or maybe I want to create dancing fields. I love dancing, guys. I'm a Zumba trainer, so I love dancing. So I want to create a nice example, dancing fields. Yeah, this is what I want to show. So those who love dancing, you can write your customized example. So let's go ahead and now we will see how can we achieve the dancing fields. So I want to create quickly two fields. So do we have already? Yes, we have fields over here. What I want to do, whenever somebody click on a button, I want to start my input field dancing. So first of all, basics, I want to change the width and height of my input field. So let's see, how can we do that? So come here and put input. It's your tag name based execution now. So I don't have to put a dot or hash because it's tag name. Select this tag name. Dot animate API. Animate API allows you to change the width and height of a control. I will say height, and I'll say my width and height becomes 2 pixels. So please change the width and height to 2 pixels. That's my first statement which I have shown you here. Here, everyone. This is what I'm showing you here. So let's see how this works. Let's quickly code dancing fields. Go back here and I will click button and start dance. Save it. Let's come back, refresh. And now let's click on start dance. You will see animate API. It's going to reduce the width and height of my input fields. Let's click on that. Oops, something is wrong. Dancing fields is not defined. Something is wrong. Dancing fields, is that the method name? Sorry, no comma is required. Sorry, I'm so sorry. There was no comma needed. I put an extra comma. Yeah, it's just function continuously. So now I just saved, come back, and watch out. Start dance. You can see the width and height of the input field has become so small. To make it look like dancing, we need to increase the width and height back again. So let's write a chain function, and then I will say dot animate again. Please animate again and increase the width back to, let's say, 180 pixels, and increase the height back again to maybe 50 pixels. Now watch out. It will first animate, reduce the width and height, and immediately it will increase the width and height. I save this, come back and refresh. Watch out, start dance, reduces, increases. Every time you click, it reduces, increases. Actually, ज़्यादा हो गया. Let's change the height, maybe 10 pixels or 15 pixels. That looks good. Let's come back. Every time now you click on the button, it is reducing, increasing, right? Now, if I do it iteratively, don't you think if I do it iteratively, it will start dancing my fields? If I'm clicking again and again, it's giving a dancing effect. So I want this to be done automatic. How? We can now use feature called function recursion. Do you remember C programming function recursion? What is a function recursion? Anyone? Programmers, come on, Jago, developers. What is function recursion? Anyone who will tell me basics? This is freshers interview question. No, not a function called in loop. No. Perfect answer, Abhishek is got right. It's a function calling itself. That's called function recursion. You are calling a function by itself, which means it now runs in an infinite loop, calling itself again and again and again. That's called function recursion. So what I'll do is, after this last animate effect is over, I'm writing a callback function, and I'm putting my function dancing field itself as a callback function. As a result, what will happen? Well, see, first it comes, it calls reduce the width, increase the width. And once the increase width function is complete, this animate function is complete, it will say dancing field, which means it's a function recursion. It calls itself again. And then it again reduce the width, again increase the width, again call, again reduce the width, again increase the width, again call, again reduce the width, again increase the width. ये भी सोचेगा मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है. It's thinking what is happening to me. It's calling itself again and again. Function recursion, and this all happens in asynchronously, non-blocking IO. Pura asynchronous execution. That's why JavaScript is so powerful as compared to other programming language. It doesn't block user to do anything. You can still continue with application screen because this all happening asynchronously. Let's save this up, come back and see dancing fields on your screen, guys. Let's refresh. Watch out, dancing fields. Start the dance, and you can see, oops, it's not really working out. I think I have to do something. I have to just put function here and then execute this function and call dancing field function inside. I think that's what we got to do. Let's try. Start dancing, and dun, 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 dun. You can see, you can play a song and I will dance. There you go. Dancing input fields, guys. Believe me, you not find any example on internet for this. These are all my self-created examples to make sure that I make the learning interesting for you, not boring for you, but interesting for you. You can see the dancing fields on your UI, guys. Wow, superb. You can see dancing input fields. What an example. This is how they do it on internet. They don't do a magic. This is how they do things on internet. You can apply lot of effects using jQuery 3D effects, 2D effects, dimension changes. So that's what you got to do. Let's give an exercise. You got to explore a function and get me the result. So what you got to do, exercise. So when we click, so place an image on the screen. When we hover mouse on the image, it should rotate by 180 vertical angle. Okay, it should rotate the image by 180-degree vertical angle. Let's see how many of you can complete this exercise. Find out internet, scroll the internet and see how can you achieve it. 180-degree, you have to 180-degree angle. You should flip the image. Basically, it's a flip image example. You should flip the image by 180-degree. Okay, so just to show you an example, if I put an image, let's say this is an image. Now when I hover my mouse, when I take my mouse on this image, it should invert, it should flip the image by 180-degree. Let me see how can we change it here in the word. So it should flip by 180-degree. So there is a possibility. So maybe here we should see flip effect, animation. So there must be some animation effect for flipping. So you might have worked with this. So it should flip the image by 180-degree. That's what it has to do. Rotate the image by 180-degree. That's an example. So vertically it should rotate by 180-degree. So that's what I want. Yes, this is the effect. So you see guys, whenever I go here and I just click, you see it's flipping at 180-degree, right? So that's what I want. So you see this 180-degree vertical angle. It's flipping the image. It's doing a flip effect with 180 degrees. See, right? Vertical angle. That's the kind of example I want you to try and give me the result. Do scroll. अरे ये तो अभी भी dance कर रहा है. It's still dancing. Okay, stop it, man. Refresh. Okay, so this is how it stops. And you see, we can still continue with whatever we're doing here. We can still continue. See, this effect gets applied. Everything works as usual. It doesn't block the screen because it's non-blocking IO. Yeah, it's non-blocking IO, guys. JavaScript is non-blocking IO, asynchronous execution, and you see everything works. User is not blocked. User can still continue with the things what user is doing. User doesn't get blocked. That's the asynchronous. That's a new programming paradigm. Asynchronous non-blocking IO. Okay. Can we find a place where all the jQuery documentation available? Yes, we have it. You can just go back to jquery.com and there was a tab, if you observed, called documentation. Yeah, there you can find all the documentation on jQuery. A lot of amazing effects, 3D effects, 2D effects, rotation effects, globe. If you want to create a globe, you can make a 3D globe via jQuery. So you can see some APIs are deprecated. However, you just come down, you see DOM insertion outside. You can dynamically play around with objects, miscellaneous DOM elements, offset properties, attributes, content filters, filtering the objects. So lot of such APIs. You see all these APIs, jQuery API. And I want to search for fade out. Let me search fade out. You see fade out, fade in, fade to, and maybe I'll just show you a nice hint, rotate. There must be an API called rotate or angle X. So there is something called rotate X or something. There's an API you can use for 3D rotation, 2D rotation, 2D rotation, 3D rotation. There are actually APIs to do 2D, 3D rotations. So they're all there. I mean, I don't remember the name of the API, but there is an API which will help you to actually do this rotation, which I gave you an exercise for all of you, right? So that's what you got to try it out. You got to try it out to achieve that result. but that should happen only on hover when I take my mouse. Let's see who can do it. You have to explore the Google. On Google, you'll find solution, ready-made solution already. This for this exercise. Okay. Should flip be continuous or repetitive? It should be one time. When I mouse over, it should flip. Again, I take mouse over, it should flip again. So one time 180 image will invert. When you again hover, it should again invert and bring back to its original state. Yeah. So rotate. Yeah, rotate is the API, I think. Let me just check. No, it's not here. You have to find out, guys. You have to check and find out and see how can that be achieved. Choose your own way of doing it. I don't mind you googling it up, but get me the result. It should be with the jQuery. Okay, that's what you have to do. Can we use callback function for any action? No, it's not, because it depends on the API. Does it offer callback? So if you see fade out and fade in, let me go inside the fade out. You will see the signature of fade out. You see here the signature of fade out is duration and complete. So what is complete here? Complete is nothing but your callback function. A function called once animation is complete. Call once matched element. Okay. So you have signature. You see the API says duration, first argument, comma, complete, which is a function. So that's how you should do it. Duration and complete. A function to call once animation is complete. Clear? So only the API which has this argument, you can use the callback function, not everywhere. Okay. So Vaishali has already put some solution, but that's a CSS based solution. I don't want CSS solution. I want you to do this via jQuery. Okay. I don't want CSS solution. I want jQuery solution. I want to see it with the jQuery. You've got to get it with the jQuery. All right. Cool then. Thank you so much for joining today's class. See you tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day.